طيب، خبير العلاقات العامة الأمريكي الذي عمل ويعمل مع الحزب الجمهوري موريس بوناميجو، اللي احنا كنا اتقابلنا معاه عبر سكايب في القاهرة 360 قبل كده، وشرح لنا مستر بوناميجو ايه اللي حصل في الفترة بتاعة العلاقات العامة. وكان الكثير من المصريين بيأيدوا كلامه جدا وكانوا معجبين بيه. مستر موريس بوناميجو معانا عبر الهاتف. Good evening, Mr. Bonamego.
Yes, good evening. How are you today?
How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Allow me that we are going to run this conversation, and in the middle I will be translating to our audience what you're saying. So please tell me your impressions about what Senator McCain has said today.
Well, first of all, what Senator McCain has said in the past about Egypt, or about what Senator McCain has said today in Egypt? I'm sorry, can you repeat that question, please? I didn't hear that.
What he said today in the press conference, especially that he answered the reporter saying that what happened in Egypt was a coup.
For crying out. Well, first of all, that's his opinion, and I have my opinion. It was not a coup, and I explained it to you before.
I will tell you exactly his wording, Mr. Bona. He said, I'm not here to go through the dictionary. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah, well, that's typical McCain. First of all, I have to say I'm not a big fan of McCain. I've met him, and I was never impressed with him the first 10 seconds that I met him. John McCain is going to say whatever John McCain wants to say at the moment. Whatever. He's one of these types, and as Lindsey Graham is too, they'll never pass up a chance to speak in front of the microphone. If you say it's dark, he'll say it's light. The reality is, once again, as I've stipulated a long time, many times over, that what happened in Egypt was not a coup. It was a revolution. The military backs the people. It was not a coup. McCain needs to understand and look up the definition of what a coup is. And he's totally mistaken and confused. We have to forgive him in a sense because he is getting older. So his memory may lapse.
Okay.
Consequently, first of all, I'd like to know what Senator McCain and Senator Lindsey Graham, what are they doing over there in Egypt right now, and who's paying for this trip? Is it my taxpayers' money paying for them? And what is your sense of accomplishment? What is your purpose of being in Egypt at this point? And then also, by the way, it needs to be pointed out to the Egyptian people that how much is this costing out of Egyptian taxpayers' money for their protection and for their entertaining and the hotels and everything that needs to do when a dignitary visits a country. So therefore, but now we're also concerned about the Obama administration closing the embassies in Egypt. I think it's the stupidest thing that this administration has done yet so far. And by closing the embassies in Egypt, in Cairo there, you're basically telling the Egyptian people to go to hell. Okay, that's a good way of supporting the Egyptian people, isn't it? And Egypt itself. Go ahead, you're trying to translate.
All right. What do you think about this nomination of Ford to come as an ambassador to Egypt, even though all Egyptians are standing against it?
What do I think about the termination of food?
No. Robert Ford is nominated as U.S. ambassador to Egypt, and Egyptians do hate the presence of this gentleman coming from Syria, the former ambassador to Syria.
Right, that is a foreign ambassador to Syria, I understand, sorry. And I think that, first of all, any president that's sitting in power is going to nominate their own people in there. The president, I'm not a big fan of President Obama, but he has the right to nominate his own people to an ambassador position in any country. More than likely, I will not agree politically with the ambassador's position, but I'm sorry that we have to deal with who's ever in the administration, and we have to deal with his people. So
it's another process of go to hell Egyptian people, because Egyptian people were not very much fond of Mrs. Patterson. Now they are bringing in somebody who's more of a hardliner than Mrs. Patterson.
Right. That is true. But no, I think they also, too, the Egyptian people can refuse to accept him as ambassadorship as well.
All right.
And I think, and if that's the case, which actually it is the case now that I think about that, I think that if they do stand firm and say, no, we don't want him, find somebody else, they don't have to accept that ambassador.
Right. Okay, final impressions you have about what's happening in Egypt these days?
What do I think the final impression of what's happening?
What are your impressions about what's happening these days?
Well, right now, nothing much is really going on, but I think that what needs to happen in these days, and this is what I said, is that it is very important. Egypt they have to have somebody elected into the presidency right now to start handling this government's problems that they're having right now. Egypt has to have this done at a maximum of 6 months. I've said that in press interviews before, and I still stand by it today. If they do not have this done in 6 months, I fear that the whole country of Egypt will simply implode. And once the country disintegrates as such, then there goes the whole Middle East, and it's going to take decades to get it back, if you're able to get it back. That this cannot happen. Hopefully I will be in Egypt. I would like to be there by the end of the month and start meeting with people and working with the right people to get them elected into political office for the good of Egypt. But we have to start looking at potential candidates, be it, everybody's in favor, or it appears to be everybody's in favor of General Sisi, and General Sisi is a good man, he said some good things. I don't know if he's the answer to Egypt. He may very well be. But, we have to look at somebody who is going to be a credible leader, that will have international experience, that, yes, will be a very successful businessman, that can, take, and build economic structure and stability within Egypt. We need to look at a person that is capable of doing all that. But it needs to happen quickly. And then we have to start getting elections into place and getting the vast majority of the people to get out there and vote. Vote does matter, and it's important, and you can get it done. But it's critical that we get this process going right away and regain the Constitution of Egypt that was disintegrated by Morsi.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bonamigo. It's a pleasure to speak to you again, and looking forward to meet you when you come to Cairo next time by the end of this month. معلش ان انا اخدت المكالمة كلها بدون ترجمة، بس هلخص ما دار مع مستر بوناميجو. مرة تانية بقول انه خبير في العلاقات العامة والعلاقات الدولية، ويعمل مع الحزب الجمهوري في الولايات المتحدة. سألته عن انطباعاته فيما حدث اليوم في المؤتمر الصحفي لماكين، وخاصة ان ماكين لما سأل واحد من الصحفيين هل ما حدث في مصر هو انقلاب، قال اذا كانت تمشي كبطة وصوتها زي صوت البطة تبقى بطة، بمعنى ان لو كان شكله انقلاب وطريقته انقلاب يبقى انقلاب. يبقى هنا اشار الى يعني ان الموضوع ده انقلاب، فبالتالي ده اللي مش عاجب المسلماني ومش عاجب الناس، وردود الفعل اكيد اللي هنسمعها النهارده عن ماكين هتبقى ردود سيئة. فلما سألته عن ده قال ان اللي حصل في مصر هو ثورة وليس انقلاب. ماكين يقول اللي هو عايزه، ان هو ماكين لما التقى بيه قبل كده بعد 10 ثواني من لقائه بيه حس انه شخص مش مفروض ان هو يثق فيه، ومن الواضح ان هو كبر وخرف. لكن السؤال الاهم، لينسي وماكين بيعملوا ايه في مصر وعلى حساب مين؟ هل هو على حساب دافعي الضرائب في امريكا ولا على حساب دافعي الضرائب في مصر من المعونات المخصصة في مصر؟ ان هم جايين وقاعدين في الفنادق، جايين ليه وبيعملوا ايه وعلى حساب مين؟ اما ان اللي عملته الادارة الامريكية فيما يخص مصر وانها تقوم باغلاق سفارتها في مصر في هذا التوقيت الحرج، فكأنها تقول للمصريين اذهبوا الى الجحيم. سألته عن ترشيح الفورد اللي هو كان السفير الامريكي في سوريا لمصر اللي بيرفضوا المصريين كلهم. قال من حق اي رئيس ان هو يرشح من يريد، واوباما يرشح الرجل الذي يريده، ولكن من حق المصريين ايضا ان يرفضوه ويقولوا مش عايزين هذا الرجل. ما يجب ان يحدث في مصر هو ان لازم الانتخابات تتم سريعا، ويتم انتخاب رئيس خلال 6 اشهر على اقصى تقدير. لأن لو لم يحدث ومشينا على خارطة الطريق التي وضعت بحيث أن نصل إلى وضع الدستور وانتخاب الرئيس اللي هو المفروض يكون شخصية ذات علاقات دولية ويكون لها مصداقية كبيرة عند الشعب المصري ويستطيع أن يهيكل الاقتصاد وما إلى ذلك، لو ده ما حصلش فالبلاد مرشحة لأن تنفجر، وبالتالي هذا يؤثر على منطقة الشرق الأوسط بأكملها. الفريق السيسي له مصداقية ويعلم، ولكن لابد من البحث عن الشخصية المدنية التي تعمل من أجل صالح البلاد.